morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, out of Voice Radio. So today, we've got very exciting news about Pokemon Championship points, how to qualify for Worlds next year, best finish limits, and the announcement of all 4 international championships, though with varying degrees of information. Cool. So let's start off with the headline then, which is the amount of points needed to qualify for the 2020 Pokemon World Championships. There is one change, and it is a moderately major change. The number of championship points needed in order to qualify for the World Championships if you are in North America as a master has gone down to 500. It was at 550 before. Cool. That means you need 50 fewer points in order to get yourself an invite for the Pokemon TCG World Championships. Outside of that, all the values are the same as they were previously. 400 for seniors, 350 for juniors. If you're in Europe, you get an invite of 350 points. Latin America, Oceania, and South Africa coming in at 250, with lower points for juniors and seniors. Except in Latin America and Oceania, where it is just 250 across the board. If you were there last year, or this year, and you got an invite to Worlds, you stand a pretty good chance of going next year. So, 50 points lower might make a little bit of a difference. If we have a look at the 2019 leaderboard for North America, we can see that the 200th person was Ben Cryer with 549 points. Press F for respects. Meaning that 199 North American Masters were able to secure their invite. If we then go down the list a little bit, we see that 212 was Mr. Eric Smith with 500 points, who would have just squeaked in an invite. So that means that essentially we would see 13 extra people getting an invite. Now that's not strictly probably true, because you got a couple of people on 498, one person on 499 who may have attended another league challenge or whatever it was, because getting one more point, they go, right, it's worth going. 51 more points, they go, not this year, guys. It's not this year. So maybe make a bit of a difference. Not going to make a huge amount of difference, but the fact of the matter is, if they just changed it this year and they just said, right, change of plans, anyone with 500 can now get an invite, an extra 13 people would have an invite. But we have seen a couple of changes coming around here as well in terms of best finish limits. And there's 2 big changes. The first of which is that Regional Championships best finish limit has been brought down. Last year, the best finish limit for regionals and special events was 8. Now the best finish limit is 6. It's still the same number of points, 200 for a win, etc. But now you can only count 6 of your finishes rather than 8. I don't imagine this is going to affect a huge amount of people, because honestly, who's top cutting 7 or 8 or more regionals or special events? Now, I know there are some people out there that are, but very, very few people. Now, to be fair, the people that are going to be the people who are going for the top 16 in North America, top 22 in Europe, that being where you get a paid day 2 invite rather than a pay yourself day 1 invite. So maybe this change in the best finish limit will have an impact on the players that make top 16 in North America, top 22 in Europe. That could be a thing. Generally, it's not going to make a big difference. One that is absolutely going to make a difference, and anyone who's been arguing, Pokemon don't listen, and look, people are going to be angry about this, people are angry about everything. But one, I would argue, inarguably good change that they've made is that League Cups and League Challenges now have a yearly best finish limit rather than a quarterly best finish limit. So instead of taking your best 2 finishes for League Challenges and your best 2 finishes for League Cups every quarter, you instead take your best 8 finishes overall. So there were people before who would not be able to attend enough league challenges to hit the 2 best finish limit one quarter, but then they'd end up cutting 4 or 5 another. This is a much fairer way to do things. Now, you go along and you just take your best 8 for the year as a whole. I don't see how that can be anything but a wonderful, wonderful good thing overall. That's great. That's wonderful. So let's quickly remind ourselves of the best finish limits and the points you can get. League challenges, you have a best finish limit of 8 per year, 15 points for a win, 12 for second, 10 for top 4, and then you can get up to, 4 points for top 32 if there's 100 people. Kicker means a number of participants that must go along in order for you to get your points. Moving up one into League Cups in terms of severity, once again, we do have a best finish limit of 8 for the year. Once again, we do have seasons, but it's kind of irrelevant at this point. What was really important about the seasons was that you had a best finish limit of 2 per seasons. Now, just doesn't matter. It's just 8 for the year, which is quite nice. Although the seasons are up on the screen there if you want to, really celebrate them. You get 50 points for a win, 40 for second, 32 for top 4, regardless of attendance. And then you get diminishing number of points down to 13 for top 64 if 200 people have rocked up. In terms of regionals and special events, we got a best finish limit of 6 combined. Very important. And then you get 200 for a win, 160 for second, 130 for top 4, 100 for top 8 regardless, and then if there's 800 people you get 30 points for top 256. There is a shared limit between regionals and special events. Honestly, the only real difference between them is that regionals have those cash prizes, whereas special events don't. Interestingly enough, as it stands at the moment, 0 special events have actually been announced. In Europe, we've only got 2 regionals. One in Cologne in Germany on my birthday weekend, and one in Sheffield on the 7th or 8th of September. Kind of both of them, which I should very much be going to. There's a bunch of US and Canadian regionals. I'll pop a link in the description so you can go and check them out at your leisure. And then if we have a quick look at the international championships, your best finish limit here, there isn't one. If I remember correctly, it's certainly not stated on the website because there's only 4. If you're cutting multiples of these, just, get that paid invite today too. You get 500 points for winning. Now, this has actually righted a curious thing that many people have pointed out. This season, we're just coming to the end of the World Championships in a couple of weeks. You could win an international championship, and if you were in North America and didn't get any other championship points, or indeed didn't get 50 more, you actually would be an international champion, winning one of the 4 biggest tournaments of the year that isn't Worlds, and you wouldn't have a Worlds invite. Many people pointed out how silly this was, and honestly, I think that's probably the biggest reason for the change. So to sum up, here are the changes. North American Masters now need 500 points for Worlds, not 550. Regionals has a best finish limit of 6, not 8. That's regionals and special events combined. And League Challenges and League Cups have a yearly best finish rather than a quarterly. So you can basically just have a really great quarter and use 8 results from that. Yeah, there are plenty of people that go to 8 cups in one quarter. And finally, the international championships have been announced. And they are going to be happening. The first one, November 15th to 17th, will be the Latin American International Championships in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Then on February the 21st to the 23rd in Melbourne, Australia, we will have the Oceania International Championships. That's staying in Melbourne after being in Sydney the previous year. April the 17th to 19th in Berlin, we've got the European International Championships. So after 2 years in London, this does make the second year in a row in Berlin. And then finishing June 26th to 28th in North America. It is in the USA, but we've not been given any other information about venue. Probably in Columbus, Ohio or Indianapolis, Indiana, because that's where it tends to be, but no confirmation yet. You will also notice that the order is the same as last season, that being Latin America, Oceania, Europe, North America, as opposed to the first 2 seasons where Europe kicked off and Latin America was in April. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you need to know. That's the information. I, for one, am excited, and frankly, you should be too. I know Worlds isn't for another couple of weeks yet, but it is never too early to start getting excited for next season and next World Championships. So tell me what you think about these changes. Personally, I think the only one you could even possibly take as a negative here is the reduction in the best finish limits for regionals and special events, but that is going to impact a very small number of people. Either way, I'd like to know what you think, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't even have any Pokemon in. Today we did our very first video on the Marvel Champions Living card game, and that is something I'm pretty gosh darn excited for. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.